So one of the things that I wanted to quickly touch base with you on was the hatch command. It's something that I haven't shown yet in the video, and I think it's a useful tool. Okay, so we've talked about line weights, and no doubt your instructors have discussed line weights with you. And don't forget that we certainly want to have some kind of a silhouette line. Now, if we're not seeing the lines show up, remember to always enable print display, and this will be important too for the hatch. Okay, so we're just going to run the print display command, make sure that the state is set to on, and there we go. Okay, now, remembering that these are really two halves of a whole, right? What we're doing is we're kind of showing off this as as a cut, right? And while the silhouette line should always be heavy, we should always make sure that the cut lines are always the heaviest. Okay, that's the convention that we use in architecture. So what I'm going to do is, and for this one, I'm just going to maybe try playing around with a little bit of a different view too. So I'm just going to explode this line here, and I'm just going to separate them just to kind of see how that looks, okay? And depending on your instructor, you might decide to go a different route, okay? I have told my students to be critical about what you're showing, right? Just because I tell you to represent a line a certain way should never mean that you aren't looking at the three-dimensional object and wondering, are you showing it the best way possible? Okay, so that's why I'm going to try separating the corners here and just see if this is maybe a better result. Okay, and I'm just going to, because this is a was the silhouette line. I'm just going to use the match tool here quickly to match it to what this silhouette line is, okay? And same with here. Actually, I selected the wrong one. There we go. Okay. Oops. Run the match tool here. And we want that thicker line. Click OK. Good. Okay. So remember that this whole area represents a cut. So really what we want to do is we actually want to select that whole cut area and this interface here. And I'm going to do the same to the other side while I'm here, just for efficiency's sake, okay? And let's just come over to our print width and let's set, well, if I want to make it thicker than the silhouette, what I might do is I might actually match it to the silhouette line. Okay, and now I can see that my print width on the silhouette is 0.7, and I want that cut line to be greater. So let's try to just push it up to 1.2. Okay, there, that looks pretty good. Now, remember, we can also join these lines too, because if you find you're selecting things multiple times, like I've been doing, I'm sort of, clapping my wrist right now saying I should join these just because it'll save me having to click, 4 more times than is really necessary. Okay, so now that we have this inner bit here and this outer bit selected, I'm going to run the hatch command, okay? And by default, it's going to come up as solid, and we want that. We're just going to click OK. All right. Now, if you're in my section, you will know that I actually want you to change these hatches to a dark gray. And part of that is because I want to make sure that you're actually thinking about your cut lines. Okay. So if we keep these hatches at black, I can't really verify that. So that's why I'm asking, we're going to create a new layer here. And I'm just going to call this hatches. Okay. And I'm going to come over to my print color and I'm going to set that to a dark gray. And you could even make it an even darker gray if you really want, if you want it to be a little bit more dramatic. And once I've got that color set, I'm going to change the layer of those hatches, okay? So what I'm doing, because these are already selected, I'm just going to send them over to that layer I just created, okay? There we go. Now if I deselect, there we go. Now we have a nice dark Poche. And then if I use the view display that we've created, gives us a nice clean white background. We can see we've got these nice cut lines. We've got a nice silhouette line. And I think this is probably ready to go. So this is where I would do a view, capture to file, and send this on however your instructor wants you to kind of show your different iterations. Okay, so for me, I'm just going to click OK. I'm going to send it to where I've been saving all my stuff. Down in Documents, here we are. And I might call this, maybe I'll just call this iteration 3 with Poche. Okay, so that's using the hatch command. The next video, you should be maybe looking at how to export your geometry into the Pepicura program, and that's what I'm going to be doing next up, okay?